What's up, guys and girls? Today I want to talk briefly about how you're not going to connect with most people, at least not on a really deep level. Now, this seems like common sense, but I'm talking like making real friends and stuff. And I saw this from the perspective of other people trying to do it, and for me trying to do it as well. So this was something where I sort of just didn't really care about for most of my life. I sort of just went along, did whatever. Hey, if we made friends, sure. If we didn't, whatever. And then come, I would say, freshman year, I got into like this sort of like a self-improvement sort of thing. Started reading up on it, and for me, it was like it was spurred because of a lack of like quality friends and so forth. And then I'm like, maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe it's because I'm not trying. Maybe I'm being weird. And so, boom, out of the gate, I'm like, okay, out of the gate, I didn't do so well. I was scared. But over time, I started approaching a lot of other people. And what I noticed, and I actually see this, I see this quite a few times. One of my friends, Kwame, I saw him like he's very social too. He's trying to be friends with everyone on the floor. Our floor is pretty large, and I'm seeing him do this. And for whatever reason, some people are just not bridging that gap. He was talking to this one guy who was really into like sports and stuff, and here's Kwame trying to talk about sports, trying to work it with this guy. And at the end of the day, it's just like, if you're not really that interested in the same sort of stuff, more so than that, like sometimes the people who are best of friends, like it's not really that they have some sort of common interest. It's just like for whatever reason they get along. And even if they're not really doing anything, if they're just like out in the snow playing, it snowed yesterday, like they can get along and have a good time regardless of whatever they're doing or whatever. So that's something that I sort of learned over time. And really, my dad and others have sort of mentioned it. Okay, not so much others, but my dad's mentioned it, and it makes sense. Like, out of all the people you're going to meet, let's say every 10 people, a lot of them you're just not going to connect with. Sometimes, and I find this a lot, many of them are just going along like I was before I got into all this. They don't really give a crap about making friends. They're just going along life almost like zombies. You know what? Blah 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 blah. And they give no craps. They're not scared about being rude. And a lot of them will just like blow you off. And so, at least for me, that's sort of what happens. And occasionally, like, you'll find people that you do have stuff in common with, and it will work. So if you're ever in those situations where you want to step out of your comfort zone and you actually want to start talking to people, unless you're a very attractive girl, which in case most of the time most people will just be very nice to you. It may not, okay, that may not be true if you're talking to a girl, but long story short, like, you may face people just not really giving a crap, not really wanting to be more than an acquaintance with you. And like if you face that for the first time, like I did, at first you're like shocked. You're like, what the heck? What a I'm not gonna curse, but what a jerk. And then you realize, like, really, like, why do you like want to be friends with this guy so bad anyways? And for me, like, when I first started, I was just like trying it out, and then I'd just be like so angry when it wouldn't work out. And then quite honestly, I realized, like, let's say they did have a positive reaction, which sometimes they did, and I'm like, okay, now what? I really don't want to hang out with this guy that often. Like, I wish him the best, but really we have like nothing in common. We really don't connect on any level, honestly. I remember there's this one story, bless his heart. I think it was sophomore year. I went up to this random dude. He was a really cool dude, kind of nerdy, had glasses. He was some sort of engineer. He was on his computer, and I was like, I made friends with him. Like, he was really nice to me and stuff. It was like really cool. And then I got his number, and it was like, yeah, I made a friend. And then I realized, like, honestly, like, we have nothing freaking in common. Like, what's there to talk about or do? Like, I questioned him, and he's like, I'm an engineer. I like going to this random club. It was like archery club or something. And I'm like, I wish him the best, but I don't want to go to archery club with him. Like, I'd rather, play video games or do what I enjoy doing. And I remember once, like months later, I texted him and I was like, what's up, dude? What are you doing? And he was like, oh, I'm at the soccer game. You want to come? And then I'm like, I honestly don't want to come. Like, I'd rather stay at home because I have an exam due, and I really don't really care much for soccer. So that was just like sort of stuff. Like, sometimes, at least for me, I try to be the bigger man because from my experience, not super often, but often enough, I've taken like slack where some people are just like really rude. Like, they don't give a crap. They're not interested at all. So I never do that. Even like at the very least, I'm always nice to a person. I always try and be their friend. But at the end of the day, like, sometimes you get those situations where it's just like it doesn't work out. Like, and that can happen a lot of time. Like, honestly, if you actually like lay out the numbers, like, I would say like a good majority of the time of the strangers you meet, like a lot of them you just won't have any reason to connect with. And that's my theory on why cliques are formed in schools and small communities and so forth. Like, it just happens naturally. And like, for me right now, it's sort of taking a step back. It's like I'm not trying as hard as I once did. I remember the start of the semester last year, and I think I did this briefly before, but I went about and I knocked on all the doors of about a good percentage of this floor. There's about like 30, 40 rooms, and I introduced myself to all of them. And lo and behold, like, some people didn't give a crap. They're just like, I don't want to be bothered. That was fine, whatever. But honestly, like, most of the people were fairly nice, but they never really like bothered to like do anything, and I didn't really bother to do anything or extend that, because like, honestly, like, no matter how much you want to be like friends with that person, it's like you got nothing in common. So don't take it too badly, I guess, if you set out on this route and you find out like that's just kind of how it works. Back when I started out, I guess I was under this false impression that, oh yeah, friends are just like this. It's like a level on a video game. You just have to be nice to them, and boom, you click, and you're on that level. And I guess maybe it's because I define friends differently. I define a friend as someone who's more than just an acquaintance. Someone like you actually hang about, you actually want to hang around, and you have stuff in common. And when you see them, you say hi, hey, what's up, and you can talk to them. And friends are not people where you meet at that live on the same dorm as you, and you wave to and say hi, and then when you engage in conversation with them, regardless of how good your social skills are, the conversation rarely goes anywhere and still gets awkward just because, for whatever reason, you guys don't have much in common. And don't put it on you that it's all your fault, because sometimes it's the guy's fault, it's the girl's fault. Sometimes they're just pricks for whatever reason. They're not interested. I've ran across a few instances where I literally just wanted to be friendly to them, and for whatever reason, they were pricks, or maybe they thought I was hitting on them, but I wasn't, and they were just like very rude. So brush that off, and that's all I gotta say for now. As always, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe.